Welcome to HSR Motorsport. Hello and welcome indeed to HSR Motorsport. GT3 Season 7 is live right now. Race 1, round 1 of the championship here at, of course, the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Just round the corner from Spielberg, this track was created in 1969 as a replacement for the Zeltweg airfield circuit, which was really bumpy and apparently a lap took about 1,000 miles, or the race they had on it was about 1,000 miles long. I can't remember. The research has been slightly rushed, I will say. But anyways, they replaced it with the A1 circuit back in the 90s, and ever since then it's just gotten better and better and better. And ever since, we've also been using it for F1, we've been using it for DTM, and they've used it for MotoGP as well. And today we use it for GT3 racing here on ACC. So I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be great. Nice to be back, of course. Great to be back into ACC racing this season. Potentially the last season that we'll be racing on ACC, but that's not been confirmed yet. We can keep that at the back of our minds, though. What's going to be in the forefront of our minds is, of course, qualifying, which is fairly far along. So let's hop around to the track. Let me turn off that graphic, which for some reason was on. Here we go. Cool. So, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we are currently halfway through the first split of split qualifying, and that essentially means, well, first before I get into that, let's talk about just the whole format, I guess, for the championship, you could say, the different classes. So at the bottom we've got AMS, which is short for amateurs. You've then got Pro-Ams, which is short for pro/amateurs, and then you've got Pro, which is obviously short for professional. Of course, AMS are going to be your, I don't want to say it, I always hate saying this, but it's going to be your lower category, your worst category, so to speak, out of the three. And then you've got the middle one being Pro-Ams, and of course the top being Pros. Now, how that relates to you and how you can figure that out for yourself, which car is a Pro, which car isn't, is by the colour of the box behind their car number. You can also see it on the bottom right hand side of your screen, right underneath the car number again, as well as their class there. So red is AM, grey is Pro-Am, and white is Pro. I know most of you already know that, but you know, it's always nice to explain it for the new guys. Cool. I do apologise if I am still, if it does seem like I'm still trying to catch up on things here and there. Yeah, sorry, it's been a while since I've done this, I'm not going to lie, it has been a couple of weeks indeed. And in between I've been doing some F1 24 commentary work, which has been great. But of course it does mean I'm a little new to seeing all, well, I can't say new. It's nice to rediscover all this live telemetry available to me. So I have to say it's nice to be back. It is definitely nice to be back. Cool, we are up and running. Let's see what we've got going on. So up at the top we have got Kasper Zawada in a purple Porsche number 413 with a 129, basically dead, and Guido Martinez in P2, only 2/10 off of that time in a BMW. Nicolas Montas, another familiar name, number 18 in the pits right now, half a second off their time, and he will likely get one more flying lap in before the end of the session. Yes, we are coming towards the end of it, and as I was saying earlier, an explanation of the qualifying format. We have got 10 minutes for the AMs, 10 minutes for the Pro-Ams, and then 10 minutes for the Pros. So the AMs are now 8 minutes into their session, shall I say 7.5, but you round that up to 8 anyways. 7.5 minutes rounds up to 8. Basic maths, which is a miracle at this point, considering it's commentator maths purely. And then once the 2 minutes has passed now, we'll then get the Pro-Ams out on track, and then they can set their laps. Of course, some drivers might come across the line just after or just before the timer ends, actually, and that of course will mean they have that one final lap to get in. For Matthews though, this will be a tough ask, so I suspect he's probably coming in for the final time, or he's going to get out just in time, because he basically needs to finish in the next, he needs to get the car stopped and get all the tyres changed and everything within the next 30 seconds or so. or not even 10 seconds. It's counting down. Basically, yeah, I think this is the end of qualifying for Matthews. Mumta's still in the pits. Zilidis also still in the pits. Again, some familiar names. An unfamiliar name, though, is Arakon Sakura in the number 5 Femboy Racing Aston Martin. A British driver, and as we said, new to the season championship, and I've never seen him out on track before, or that I can remember, shall I say. And it'll be interesting to see how he relates to the rest of the field. P5 at the moment, a whole second off of Zawada right now, but of course there's plenty of time to improve. Johan Huben, currently number 1, but on the standings board he is P6, and he is in a Mercedes this time round. I almost said Aston Martin out of pure habit, because that is what he was driving for a couple seasons, and before that he was actually driving the Nissan GT3 as well. So to be honest, I shouldn't really be too surprised. Then we've got Nico Zilidis in his QE 2025 blue McLaren. As always, absolutely stunning car. We've got Carl Banning, also a new driver to the championship, driving the number 987 Crazy 8 BMW, and this seems to have kind of German theme about it. He's currently P8. Most of the cars are into the pits already. Banning, sorry, coming across the line now for the final time in qualifying. Can he improve? Can he get a better time? Has he invalidated his lap time? I think he has. No, he hasn't. He comes across the line in P2. What a run for Banning. Pure luck that we were following him at that point. And the last one to come across the line will be Martinez, Guido Martinez, in the number 92 in the BMW, and he seems to be going the police route in terms of the livery, and I do like it very much. It's interesting to see a police car out on circuit. Usually though, when you see that pattern, it means the ambulance is out, and that's not fun at all, because then it means someone's been hurt. Polizia Local. So it does seem, yeah, it is 100% it's Spanish police then. I was wondering whether it was German or Austrian. It was European for sure. For a second it even occurred to me, oh, maybe, you know, British police, but they don't tend to spell their name as Polizia. They just go police. Actually, we forgot about Johan Huben, who's currently out on circuit, and really that is a big mistake, because Huben has been very fast in the last couple seasons. I remember especially, I think it was season 4, where we had Huben and it wasn't Novell, it was I can't remember his name. Sorry, but it was really close. Basically, these guys were neck and neck going into the final race of the season, and then something happened and tyres went gone. Or that was Roocroft. I have to say, my memory is shocking right now. It's been a couple rough weeks, I'm not going to lie. Pro-Am qualifying kicks off, and we saw it almost kick off with a bang. BMW into the back of a Bentley. That went almost bang, but fortunately they managed to stay out of each other's cars. George Vasiliadis, currently in the Ferrari. Last season he was in the Mercedes, and he was absolutely rapid. The Mercedes seemed to be the dominant car on circuit. We also had Redhead and Mercedes challenging him all the way right up to the finish line, to the final round. It was entertaining to watch these two battle. We've also got Roman Hosko behind him in the BMW, and the only reason I could tell was because it is that Repsol livery we saw appear ever so briefly in season 4, and unfortunately since then he hasn't been able to get out on track, but he's back out tonight and will hopefully be showing us what he can do. See if he can top the Pro-Am charts. Of course, he was a pro last time we saw him, challenging the likes of Topinka, challenging those guys up at the top, but unfortunately, yeah, he had to stop about halfway through the season just due to other commitments, IRL, and in the end, yeah, he couldn't make it for the next season of racing, season 6, but he is back now for season 7, so we'll see how this works out for him. And we've got our first times on the board. Hosko in P2 showing us, yeah, he is good to fight for the Pro-Am lead. The question is, will he be put into the Pro class towards the end of the season? That is the big question I have in my mind. We've got Tim Neuberger, an Austrian. This is a home race for him in the number 39 Audi, and it's quite odd to see an Audi up this high. We've actually got more than one Audi on circuit today. We've got Schwanner down in P23 as well. I'm interested to see whether we've got anyone else. Schwanner in also a black Audi. If that's a surprise to anyone, yeah, well, it isn't a surprise to me because it is the start of the season. Everyone always forgets to upload their liveries or double check that they're working properly before they load in. You can see both Audis in complete darkness. We've also got 2 GTRs and 2 Lexuses. That sounded odd. Lexi. Do we say Lexi or Lexuses? Let me know what you guys think. Is Lexus? I will cease to comment as we've got some racing here going on between a Mercedes and an Audi, but the Audi decides to pull back. Schwanner in the 94 starting to let everyone pass so he can get some fresh air. We've also got a yellow flag for someone. We've got Morris. Oh no, that is Schwanner. For some, yeah, I don't know why I didn't make that connection. George Faciliadis though managed to climb up to P2 within a tenth of Neuberger in the Audi. And I dare say it will be great to see an Audi fight for the championship lead, fight for race wins. It'll be great to see that. We've also got Nathan Cartwright in the Muttley in his racing machine team, the 627 Ferrari, looking fairly shiny. Sorry, I'm just waiting to get another look. Sorry, no, that's not shiny. Sorry, that is carbon fibre, which in my mind is always a bit shiny if you put the sealer on. He's just taken provisional pole. Stein van Onneker, another big name from last season. Last season he was driving in the Ferrari, but now he's out in the Bentley, which seemed to be the dominant car last season as well. Matt Jordan putting it to good use. And we also saw some of the other drivers also make use of that Bentley really well in the couple of seasons before that. Stein van Onneker deciding to try it out, and a little bit of oversteer has put him on a negative delta. And when I say, again, it's that thing about when I say positive or negative delta, do I mean the time has come down or has the time been increased? You know, has it been plus 2 seconds or has it been minus 2 seconds? Because, of course, when you're racing, you want to be as fast as possible. So if you shave off 2 seconds, it's going to be minus 2 seconds. But then again, if you talk about positive and negative, you know, if it's a positive for him, if he shaves it off, it's a big mess, basically. I don't know which way I want to say it. So you guys might need to direct me as to how I should say it. Colin McNair in the GTR. That's enough talking about it. Einbrew. I love myself some Einbrew. It is absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love that drink. Just orange fizziness. And McNair showing, yep, some good old Einbrew will get you up there into P2. Butch Warner absolutely roared by, and he's only 3,000ths off of Cartwright's time. So it's a close battle here for pole position in the Pro-Am class. But of course, pole position, I guess, is classified as the first position on track. So that will probably be taken by the pros when they get out on track. P1, shall we say, for the Pro-Ams. And the good old Einbrew. I'm scared I'm going to get into a habit of saying it in an accent, and I already have too many times. So we'll leave that name for a little bit. Some other names that jump out to me are Philip Campedix in the Ferrari. Also, again, forgot to upload the livery correctly. I did sync my livery collection, so it was quite quick. Down or up may be better than positive or negative. Yeah, not a bad shout. He's got an up delta. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe could pass. Could definitely it could work. Pamperdix currently P10 for his class. Well, actually P8 for his class. P10 overall. Thomas Lenartas sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen him racing with us here at HSR before. Currently in the number 16 Aston Martin. Lots of balloons was my first glance at it. We've only had some passing. No, it's karate. I like it. TSH Racing sporting some good old carrot karate. Why is it always so difficult to say things? Another difficult name to say is Harold de Kock in the DSRT RJB Solutions Ferrari, and we saw this machine many a time last season. We also saw Stein van Onneker in exactly the same livery and exactly the same car. Osduru back out on circuit once more, and is in a Lempers Select BMW, also for DSRT. I swear they are taking over the server. Well, I won't mind. They've put on some pretty decent racing for us, so I wouldn't complain. But Osduru now currently P15. He was one of the drivers to fight, I believe, for the Class Championship lead, and he did manage to secure it, and he did manage to secure that championship victory last season, and now he's bumped up to the Pro-Ams, and he has to deal with all of that. Increased/reduced delta, yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah, the thing is, though, it's like, do they know when I say up 2 seconds, that means he's improved by 2 seconds, even improved and lost? I don't know, it's a big... There's a lot that could go into this. We should create a whole Reddit page dedicated to this, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe put it on something like SimRacing Stewards, get them to decide. End of qualifying approaching us. 10 seconds to go before qualifying officially ends, and we didn't even get round to seeing some of these other cars. Let's have a quick look. This is Josh Redhead in a tamed Open Lobby Racing liveried Mercedes. He did very well last season in this machine. We also have Joseph Puller in the Crypto Motorsport BMW, again another name that is fairly synonymous with great performance. We've got Nick Novell out again in his usual ride, the yellow and black Porsche, and then we've got Zan in the pits right now. Nicholas Zan, a new addition to the championship, and he's got a very, very colourful livery indeed. We didn't get round to seeing John Malott earlier in a Godzilla themed livery, and I can also see the Red Bull stuff in the background, which is appropriate seeing as we are at the Red Bull Ring. So yeah, second GTR spotted, and we should see the Lexuses come out on circuit soon. Morris Schwann still on a lap, but he's just coming to the pits. Let's see, have we got anyone else? Roman Hosko pulls over to the side, and Cartwright manages to hold on to P1 for now, but McNair in the Ironbrew manages to take P1, and yeah, it is good to see. It reminds me of Napa. It reminds me of the Napa racing livery that the touring cars have in BTCC. It's just, yeah, it's just so simple. Blue, yellow or orange, blue or orange, that's it. I love it. I love it. Every time he does that, I'm just going to rip out the Scottish accent. And probably by the end of the season, you guys will be hating me for it and begging me to stop. So do let me know early whether I should stop with it, because I'm also not sure whether it's... I'm not sure whether it's actually offensive or not. I love the accent, though. I just love it. I want to speak like that. I just want to speak like that. It's I'll just put it out there. You know, if I do end up saying it, I've already said a couple words in my Scottish accent, which I have to say isn't the best. But I just love it. I love that accent. Let's go through some of our pros. We are following Reese Valentine right now. Also a name synonymous with some good results over the course of couple seasons. We saw him and Hosko kick off on an early rivalry in season 4, and that was epic to watch. But unfortunately, of course, Hosko then left, and Valentine was left all on his own to then start fighting with some of the other big boys. And yeah, kind of from there was a podium or two, but otherwise fairly low on the radar, fairly, flying under the radar for a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how he does. Andrei Batek, I'm not so sure whether I should pronounce the J at the end, but I'm not sure. Again, correct me on any of the pronunciation, please. Oh no, Brew Drinker, McNair, you've asked Iron Brew to sponsor you, but they said no. Outrageous. Outrageous indeed. I'll tell you what's outrageous, my accent. I should stop. I should seriously stop. Let's follow Andrei Batek in the number 2 BMW. Green, well, dark green and lime. Absolutely stunning. I love it. He's also got the words ACC on there, a couple other things, sim as well. Just some sim racing words. It's like a moving vocabulary. It's brilliant. Whenever I'm struggling for words, I'll just swap to Batek's car. I just wonder, what shall I use? You know, instead of saying, oh, we're side by side with, what shall I use? Oh, he's, well, that's ironic, isn't it? I'm already out of words. Jamaica Bobstead Sim Racing Team. I just saw that. Yes, that does make sense to do with the green, I guess. So Batek still to set a lap time. Other drivers to set a lap time are Tapanidis and Dutton. Again, some familiar names. Tapanidis in the usual McLaren, and he was also fairly quick over the course of a couple of seasons. He's now in a BMW, Quantum Elements BMW, looking fresh, blue and yellow. Not bad, not bad. We've also got Dutton in the Lexus. We've seen some good stuff from Dutton in the Lexus in a couple previous seasons. He's now sporting a red, green and blue livery. Again, looking pretty good. Batek did set the third fastest time overall. Best time for Pro. Looking pretty good in that Jamaica Bobsled Sim Racing Team livery. To Miro, another name to keep an eye on, who's just come back into the pits, and we'll keep an eye on him later as well. He was very good last season as well, challenging for the championship victory all the way right up to the end. We've got Topinka back out on circuit, our only two-time HSR Motorsport GT3 champion, back at it again, the number 404, but at the moment 2/10 off of pole position. Some work to be done by this man if he wants to be a three-time HSR Motorsport GT3 championship winner. Or champion, shall I say. He's had multiple race wins. He's had more than 3 race wins. He's had many race wins. Who else do we have that we can consider? Valentine up into P10. P12 is Kurt Peters, also an HSR Motorsport GT3 champion, back once more to fight for a second title. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to do so well over the course of 2 or 3 seasons. He's kind of struggled a little bit to stay up there, but he's still out there, still fighting, currently P12 in a Lexus, and it's a lovely livery. Again, DSRT RJB Solutions just looks absolutely amazing on every single car they put it on. I remember when they put it on the McLaren, and we saw that for the first time here at HSR, and I absolutely loved it. But then I ran into the issue of where I said red, black and white car, and there were about 50 of them, and yeah, it was a bit confusing. So then I tried narrowing it down. I said, cool, red McLaren. Then there were 3 of them. I believe we had Zawada as one of them, and we also had, what was the other one? We had Vasiliadis, there we go, also as a red McLaren. So that was entertaining. New name tonight out on the circuit for the first time, Waller Johnson for Buyela Engineering. Almost want to rip out my South African accent now. Although to be fair, yeah, I don't know. Could you say it in a South African accent? Buyela Engineering, racing Waller Johnson. Although to be fair, I'm not sure whether he'd be Afrikaans or not. This is a fellow countryman of mine. I don't know him personally, but he has managed to beat Valentine and Peters. So good on you, sir. And he's beat Valentine by just 5 thousandths and Peters by just 7 thousandths. That is the gap between these guys in P10, 11 and 12. Well, they've just been displaced. Peters up into P8. Mikael Topinka takes pole position. Fans could get bored with Topinka dominance. Is the common theme whenever he's raced here at HSR Motorsport. He's been absolutely incredible all season long. Every single time he's participated in 2 seasons, won both of them, and the one season that he came in at the end, literally for the first time, last race of the season, I think that was actually the season I was racing, he decided, yeah, I'm going to hop in. And, what could have been a potential pro category win for me, because no one else bothered to show up, by the way, but what could have been a race win for me got snatched by this guy. But I mean, fair enough, this guy is an absolute cruise missile who absolutely flies around the circuit, and he's done a 128.2, so that is not bad. He's the only man to have beat McNair, the Iron Brew unsponsored driver, unfortunately. Who else do we have that has yet to set a lap time? Dutton not yet setting a lap, and there's less than a minute to go, so qualifying is over for him, essentially. He is not only last in his class, he is unfortunately last overall. So that will be a hard one to make up. But we've seen some great racing from drivers further down. Just tonight, in fact, we were talking about Daniel Morris, who unfortunately had to leave this event. He couldn't show up. His racing wheel was doing all sorts of stuff. It was all over the place. But Morris is the classic example where he struggles with qualifying. He just can't quite get into that mindset right. Then he qualifies poorly, and then during the race is an absolute star, because then he just cuts through the traffic so quickly and makes up positions left, right, and centre, because it's just it's just full send, no regrets mode. But then on the odd occasion that he does manage to get a good qualifying result, he's absolutely amazing as well. He just pulls out a lead or starts fighting for the race win, podium positions, you name it. We saw that at Imola last season, actually, where he had a Ferrari turning him all the way, and he just about managed to stay ahead at the finish line. They were bumper to bumper as they came across the line, as Daryl Cartrip said in Cars 2, I believe, and they recently watched it again. But those films never get old, though, so don't say anything. We've got the number 77 coming across the line next, Kurt Peters. This is basically the end of qualifying now. 2.5 minutes for these drivers to make their way across the line for the final time. Kurt Peters coming across the line now, and he is weaving, so I suspect that's his lap already gone, and he is stuck in P10. Then we've got number 404, and that's already Mikael Topinka. He's already basically got this in the bag, but of course we saw Batek, the driver behind him, set one of the faster lap times right at the start of the session. He was P2, and now let's see whether Topinka can improve to build on that gap. No, he can't, and actually that was the end for Batek as well. So qualifying over, qualifying complete. Join us in just a few moments for the race. We've got 60 minutes of racing up ahead, no mandatory pit stop, so that should make things very interesting. So as always, grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a snack, get comfortable, and we'll be with you in just a few moments. Hello and welcome back to the HSR Motorsport GT3 Season 7 Championship. And today you join us for round one here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria Spielberg. And starting on pole for the race, yes, that's right, we are about to get into the racing. If you are joining us for the first time, we have got Michael Topinka for the Pro Class in the Porsche. Alongside, we've got Colin McNair. I almost feel like I need to say that in Scottish as well, considering he is now sporting the Ironbrew livery, and we did get a shout for a full race commentary with Scottish accent. My, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Just to work my accent, just put it through its paces. I don't think I've got a proper one though, so it'll be good to have someone alongside me though to rate me a true Scotsman. Anyways, enough about Scottish accents. Marios Tsapanidis in P3 with Tim Miro alongside. We have got Nathan Cartwright in P5 with Waller Johnson. Next, the number 99 McLaren. We've got Andrei Botek in the BMW with Morris Schwanner in the Audi alongside. Reese Valentine, number 9 with Kurt Peters in P10. Then we've got a little gaggle of Pro-Ams. We've got Papadix alongside Roman Hosko, Stein von Oneker following them in the Bentley. Tim Newberger, well, he is a new driver to the championship. George Vasiliadis though, he was there last season. Zawada qualifying P1 for his class in the purple Porsche. Thomas Lenartas, let's call it Lenartes, in the Karate Aston Martin with Carl Banning alongside in P18 in that BMW. We've then got Guido Martinez in the Policias Local BMW with the Cook alongside, and I'll need speed on the rest. We've got Sakura, Osduru, Montas, Redhead, Matthews, Pular, Huben, and then a few more names: Zilidus, Stephen, Davies, Brum, Novell, Rucraft, Zan, Malott and Dutton to round out our 35 drivers participating tonight. And my, we've just made it in time before they hit the start line. And it's go time. 35 cars go roaring down to turn 1 to start an hour of racing here at the Red Bull Ring, and that GTR is looking towards the inside for turn 1, not quite close enough to challenge for that yet, and the Porsche has surged ahead, but we have got contact in the background. There is a McLaren going around, Marios Tsapanidis trying to make some early progress, but behind, Botek is under attack from a BMW behind him. He's got Miro all over him in the other BMW, trying to take this position into the hairpin. Not quite possible, but I see a move. McNair being pushed to the outside, and he's lost position to that BMW. Tsapanidis is trying to make some early progress so he can chase Topinka before he disappears up the road, and that is an issue we've seen every single season. Papadix right up behind Valentine now. Again, some interclass battling taking place, but of course you need that security. I can see a move behind though for Thomas Lenartas. He had a look down the inside of Vasiliadis, not quite managing to get alongside far enough to make the move. We've also got Osduru fighting the BMW behind him as well. I believe that's Martinez, and he's just about managed to stay ahead, and he's now up behind the Porsche as well. That is going to be Zawada battling. We've also got Zilidis right behind them, having to go out to Kura, just enough space given as they get through the left and right hander kinks. And there's Puller in the background getting a little out of shape. Here's Josh Redhead though in the Pro-Am Mercedes, taking advantage of that, and he's already alongside by the time they get to that right hander. But we've just missed this battle. Cartwright being filtered down the pro grid. He's a Pro-Am in the field of pros. You can see Miro shaping up for a move into turn 1. Valentine in the background, right up behind the Audi, but there's nothing there for either of them. And so they do manage to make their way through there without many issues. Cartwright in the Ferrari, though, not quite happy to give up that position because McNair is in P2 as a Pro-Am. That is impressive, and I can't imagine that is going to stay like that for much longer. The Ferrari choosing to go the long way around as they head into the hairpin, going wide, taking that track limit strike, but all it takes though is a lift off the throttle, and that's fine. Tim Miro also alongside the Audi, making his way around the outside, or just defending that position. It's a bit tricky to understand which way around it is. He does try to go around the outside for this next corner, but the Audi continues to defend very well and comes out ahead through the right-hander. Whether he'll make a lunge into the left-hander, into this left kink, well, the Ferrari ahead had a look, but there we go. Miro up the inside, straight to the point, and that is still Miro in P6. Wow, A lot of position changes there, back and forth between them, but the battle for P2 has not given up in the slightest. Tupanidis still right up behind that GTR of McNair, and you can see I've already failed in trying not to speak with a Scottish accent when I see McNair in that Iron Brew car. Sir, I beseech thee, please keep this livery for the rest of the season, or if people are asking me to stop, then please eliminate it from the season, because I will not be able to resist the urge. One driver that cannot resist the urge is Peters, going around the outside of the McLaren. Valentine, though, getting a little... He's getting a little skittish. He did get attacked by the Ferrari of Pamperdix behind, and he did collide with him. A little side-by-side action there into the right-hander, but now he's under threat from Stein von Unneke behind the Bentley and the Ferrari, the two carbon fiber cars once again coming together on that right-hander hairpin. And there's nothing between these two. They are going all out for this position. This is P4 for the Pro-Am class. Valentine was a pro, so it makes sense he wanted to stay ahead of these guys just in case they are a little bit slower. Oh, and that Ferrari behind Vasiliadis already looking to make some progress up the field. That was quite an aggressive run into that right-hander. It means he's got some pace to him and he's ready to take some positions. Whether he'll manage to get past these guys, though, is an entirely different question. That Bentley has got some weight to it. The Ferrari is quite fragile compared to the Bentley, or as Francesco Bernoulli might say, fragile. Yeah, that is, unfortunately, it is fragile. Yes, for some reason this Italian car is also fragile. One car that is not fragile is the Bentley. It is a brute. It is a big thing. They called it the boat a couple of seasons ago, when it was absolutely flying and absolutely dominating the grid. Pamperdix, though, looking for every opportunity into turn one. Is it going to be a left? Is it going to be a right? Both cars now filing in right behind each other, and Valentine still on the back end of Peters, but it's a better exit for the Ferrari, though. He's already alongside. Will they manage to stay there as they head down into turn three? I don't know why I just did that. That just went to the wrong view. Here we go, still side by side, and there is a little bit of battery going on between them, a little bit of wheel banging. The Ferrari's got the inside there, and the Bentley has somewhat conceded, but it looks like he's had a better mid-corner run through there, through that right-hander, and he is now alongside, and he's actually lost that position to the Ferrari. Oh, it's all up in the air a little bit. Into the braking zone for the right-hander, into turn four, and that Bentley is still looking for the position. He's still there, still fighting. But it seems as though that position is gone for good, at least for the time being. We might see someone challenge that in just a few moments or in a couple of laps. Of course, we do need to keep in mind there are no mandatory pit stops for tonight, so if you do see someone in the pit lane, likely they are putting out either a master move of a strategy, a master strategy, or they have had something go wrong. And for the Bentley, it went wrong because he got overtaken, but it didn't go too wrong for him. You know, he didn't sustain any major damage, I would say, from that. The driver really that should be worried is the Ferrari driver of Pamperdix ahead, but the Bentley's going to be worried as well. Vasiliadis right up behind von Unneke now into turn one. Is it going to be a similar incident to earlier? Is it going to be a better exit for the Ferrari? Still looking towards the inside. The Bentley's going to have that mental block there, and again, better exit for the Ferrari from behind. The Bentley just can't quite seem to keep it on track as well as the Italian machines as they head through turn two now and up into turn three. But that little left-hander kink, that was enough to keep the Bentley ahead. Under braking though, oh, everyone kind of a bit unsure of where the driver ahead is going. The Nartas now pulls up to the back of this grid as well. Number 16, sorry, on the back end of Vasiliadis for P12, and that has allowed the Bentley to pull ahead. Now it's going to be an Aston Martin versus a Ferrari, and Lanarta coming to the inside, a little dummy there, and he's gone back to the outside trying to open up that corner, and so he can then get the better run as they head through it. We've also got a battle going on here between Nick Novell and Puller, two oldish names that we've seen before, the number 69 and the 888, going head to head, both German machinery going at it in the Austrian countryside, and it's a move down the inside. Nope, not quite. The BMW is still managing to maintain its momentum as they head through turns 7 and now turn 8. Tim Miro, another driver to keep an eye on. Cartwright and Schwanner the two Pro-Ams up in P5 and P6, P2 and P3 for their class. So we do need to keep that in mind. Each class has got their own set of standings, but they're all racing together. So overall, we've got Cartwright and Schwander in P5 and P6, but in their own class, they will be P2 and P3 with McNair in P1 at the moment, and he's within a second of Topeka. Their last lap time separated by 500ths, so I don't anticipate McNair to be a Pro-Am for much longer. Peter's also shaping up for a potential move on a teammate here. Two very similar themed cars, and I think that's actually the first time I've also seen the DSRT livery on a BMW. Oh my goodness, two cars both run wide into that right-hander, and Peters has jumped at the opportunity. Valentine not quite close enough to take advantage quite yet, and Peters is now up into P7. The number 77 up into P7. Call it fate, call it a curse, I don't know, we'll have to find out, and keep watching to find out, I should say. 0.2, 0.3 seconds, here we go. Valentine right up behind Miro now as they head into turn 9 through that right-hander. Has he got the inside line? No, he doesn't. He's also got a Ferrari right behind him. As Pamperdix trying to get back at him for the move earlier, the little wheel bang, and he's now right up behind him, and he's got that pace to be up there with the pros. Mark my words, Pamperdix is going to be in the pro class come the next few races. I think it's going to be bumped up sooner rather than later. Mario Tsapanidis with a bad exit, and now we've got a whole load of cars being involved here. Nathan Cartwright, Schwander, we've also got Bartek involved here. So I think it was actually Bartek who had an incident, and now he's come under threat from the Pro-Ams. There we go, move down the inside for Cartwright, trying to get a gap to the Audi behind, trying to get a gap to the fellow class rivals, and he's still not got that move done though. The BMW doing well to keep up with that mid-corner speed. The aero from the Ferrari going to come in handy through this right-hander now, but he's on that inside line. Can he defend this position from the German machine? He's got another German machine to worry about though. Two Germans going head-to-head. We've got Andrei Batik and Marshwana now going side by side, and there's a little bit of contact there. So Batik just about managing to keep ahead of that Audi, but now it means he's going to have to go through a Pro-Am to get up to the back of Tsapanidis. He's in P3, and Peters isn't too far behind. We can see all the drivers now getting involved. Peters now right up behind that Audi as well, heading into the right-hander. Schwander trying to take a little bit of a defensive line, but not quite managing it. He's still got Batek ahead to worry about, and they're absolutely sending it now through Rint, through turn 9. You can see absolutely sliding their way through that right-hander. It's a fast right-hander, but here we go, the Lexus alongside, and you can see the Audi trying to narrow down that line for him, pulls back to the braking zone, and now he's lost that position. Let's see what the exit is like though. I'm sure Schwander is eager to make up that position. He's eager to stay on the rear end of that Lexus at least for as long as he can, even if it does just pull him along and give him that extra bit of tow on the straights. That'll be fine, as long as he can then stay right behind him to catch up to Cartwright ahead, who's still under threat from Batek in P5, that number 2 BMW. The question is though, will Miro get involved? Will Miro now overtake Schwander? We have seen him slow down in pace. Oh my goodness, and there we go, Batek and Cartwright neck in neck as they went through that right-hander under braking, getting very close to each other. But let's swap back to this battle here and see what it looks like from the splitter. This is the gap, this is what it looks like from inside the cockpit, and that's the rear view. So it's cars everywhere, really, cars to watch everywhere on circuit. Even further down, we've got a huge battle here for Waller Johnson, who's actually struggling very much as a pro car. He's struggling now with a group of Pro-Ams. He's got Roman Hosko right behind him, and he's got a couple Ams ahead of him as well. No, that is a couple Pro-Ams. Sorry, the standings board took a while to update there. It was a bit interesting, I have to say. And we've got, is that Honda ahead? That's Brum in the number 21 again. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get around to all the Ams. But here we go, a Pro-Am looking to make a move. Oh my goodness, and that McLaren behind Johnson is struggling straight off the circuit, and Hosko makes a position as well out of that. Oh my goodness, Johnson really struggling out here today in the McLaren, down to P25. I'm wondering whether there is an incident that we didn't see earlier. Something that we might see coming up soon is an overtake for Peters. You can see he's already flashing headlights at the BMW, trying to get him to move over. And here we go. Is it the move into the right-hander? The BMW does go on the defense. The Lexus trying to undercut it, maybe. Is it a better exit through the right-hander? He's almost alongside now into the braking zone. They are going to be side by side. If we can get this move done, he can start working on the Pro-Ams ahead, but there's no luck for him at this point in time. He'll have to wait a few more corners, nay, a few more laps maybe, to get past this BMW, but a little touch to the gravel might put him back under threat from that red car, and it has already. Almost a look there. Almost a look there. Had to hold my breath for just a few moments there. Colin McNair currently still in P2 in the Pro-Am, and this is all he can see behind him. Virtually nothing. He's got Sapanidas maybe a while back. Even Sapanidas, he's not really seeing anything, but something that we are seeing is Batek going side by side with a Pro-Am. Cartwright still defending that position as hard as he can, and that brings Miro into play as well as Peters. There we go, the Lexus fighting its way through these cars, and he's managed to make not only one but two positions by wrestling with both of them. The Lexus comes out on top, the Japanese machinery managing to get through the Italian and German stuff. Wow, absolutely muscling his way past, and now Batek has just about managed to get past that Ferrari, takes the inside line immediately to try and cover him off. And now we've got two Pro-Ams going at it again, two carbon fiber cars, and in the background we've also got some other cars having a scrap. There we go, Batek on the inside now for that next corner, but behind him Schwanner is struggling. He's had a bad exit. Miro takes the inside line, and just behind him is Stein van Onneker. Sorry, no, that's Pamperdix, also looking to make the position. And oh my goodness, the Audi all over the place. There's contact due to happen between these two. I can just see it through this left-hander. Wow, this is close racing. Good stuff from these two. Can they avoid it into turn 8 now, though? On the exit, yes, they do keep it clean. This is amazing racing. Yes, they are rubbing, they are colliding slightly, but that's fine. That's acceptable to a certain degree. Pamperdick also trying to get involved here. A battle between Pro-Ams with a Pro sandwich in the middle. Wow, what a battle. We had Cartwright in there, we had Batek making the move, we had Peters muscling his way through these two cars. That was incredible to watch. Miro just ahead of Pamperdick still. So I just thought I saw something happen there. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened. Kurt Peters' move on these guys was absolutely incredible. That was insane. Peters was number 77. Here we go. Let's see what it looked like. So heading up the hill, you can see those two battling, going really defensive there. And as they go through the right-hander, here we go. So contact 1, a little bit of rub-in, contact 2, a little bit of rub-in, there we go, tapping everyone as they go through, and he forced his way through up into overall P4. So that earlier claim that I made of him not really coming to life, well, he's here to fight for that championship, challenge to Pinker, hopefully become a second HSR Motorsport GT3 champion as well. Challenge to Pinker, stop him from getting his third championship victory. The Nartas is right up behind Osduru now in the BMW, and Kurt Peters was hosting that livery, or well, hosting the livery? Running that livery? He was basically using that livery in a season, or in a particular season of HSR Motorsport GT3, so if there is confusion between them, I do apologise in advance. The Nartas in the number 16 Aston Martin, shaping up the BMW ahead, sizing him up, not sure whether he's quite going to make that overtake now or whether he can make the overtake. And Cartwright has spun. Cartwright, the Ferrari, who we saw do so well up at the top in P2 for his class, is now emerging almost as if from the pit lane, and that has not gone well for him. Let's see what happened. Down to P16 for Cartwright, number 627. So he's behind Patek still. I think it might be a classic case of hitting the curb on the outside. No, it was inside. He lost it even before he got onto that outside curb. So turning in just a little bit too early, and there is a big sausage on that inside, and he just hit it wrong, and yeah, the car went sideways. Fortunately, no major damage, I should say, but here we go. Oh my goodness, McNair right behind Topinka, right on his butt, and wow. So it must be a mistake from Topinka. Could we have a challenger for the overall championship victory? Could we have another champion on our hands? An Iron Brew, a Scotsman on the top. Again, I do apologise for the Scottish accent. If he wins, I will try not to use the accent in the upcoming races. I did make a similar commitment on a F1 24 championship where there was a team called F1 Academy France, and I really had to fight hard those first couple races not to say F1 Academy France. It was the temptation is overwhelming, because yeah, even just the way they spelled academy, it wasn't A-C-A-D-E-M-Y, it was A-C-A-D-E-M-I-E. So it even had the French spelling of academy. It wasn't academy, it was academy. And then you had, of course, France at the end, so it was really tricky to say, to not say France. But as you can tell, I don't really care for those limits tonight. We've already had the Scottish accent pull out a couple of times tonight, and another driver who pulls out for an overtake is Josh Redhead down the inside of his old rival, George Vasiliadis, getting onto the grass slightly. Should I say gravel, not quite grass, not the same colour, is it? And he still manages to stay ahead though. Reese Valentine a little further back, going head-to-head with Dutton and Martinez. Martinez also very Spanish name, driving a very Spanish-looking car, very Spanish police-looking car, Polizia. And I don't know why I also say that. I don't know, I'm full of weird accents tonight, isn't it? It's what happens when you're away for 3 weeks. Oh, Colin McNair though, not doing a bad job at all. Currently P2, 0.2 seconds off the race leader. This is going to be interesting. Whether he manages to keep that pace up is going to be a different question, though. He's done well so far. We're already a third of the way through, and Waller Johnson absolutely sending it, trying to make up some positions. He's already made up one on Hosco. We saw Hosco ahead of the McLaren at some point this evening, but he's already made up that position. Minimal loss there, and Adam Dutton has pulled over at turn 1. I wonder whether there was a collision involved here, or whether it was just pure bad luck. I'm not sure. Waller Johnson, though, side by side with Joseph Pullard now. Unfortunately, his exit, though, was compromised, and Roman Hosco now comes thundering around the outside into turn 3. 2 BMWs virtually on home turf compared to the McLaren. His home base is located a little far and across the English Channel, but for these guys, they are virtually right at the border, and they are showing their power as they go down into turn 4. And I think Roman Hosco will have this in the bag, but the McLaren is still there, still holding on to the position, and he does manage to evade that Hosco driver behind him. I don't know why I said that Hosco driver. Hosco on the inside anyways, still keeping it tight, and Johnson into the gravel. He seems all over the place. Hosco, though, staying cool, calm and collected, and he will probably take this position within the next couple corners if we can continue to unsettle that McLaren ahead. And we still have no idea what has happened to Dutton or why that happened. We'll have a look at the replay in just a few moments. Hosco, unfortunately, giving up a little bit of time on this black McLaren. Redhead, also a driver that I was keeping an eye on, but unfortunately also lost time on. Martinez, though, losing no time to come up right behind Sakura for the AM class lead. And here we go, round the outside into turn 3, a typical overtaking zone. So good defense from Sakura. Will that have compromised his exit, though? Contact between them, and Sakura just about managed to stay ahead. Cartwright also getting involved here. The Pro-Am looking to make some positions and get back up into some battles with his own brothers and sisters. He doesn't want to fight the cork behind in that other Ferrari. And again, Cartwright muscles his way past the local Polizia. And if there were blue and red lights on his roof, I'm sure he would already have activated them in that corner. Martinez still chasing Sakura ahead, though. Sakura does manage to stay ahead of that Ferrari for the time being, but we'll keep an eye on that again. Waller Johnson struggling once more, now back up behind the BMW of Hosco. And is that Miro behind them as well, or is that Nicholas Mumtaz? I think, or is that Steven? Sorry, Leakin Steven, another DSRT driver. Morris Schwann under threat from Pamperdix as Miro makes the position as well. We did miss a little bit of action here, but we'll see if we can get some of that running again on the replays. We got to check out for Dutton and for this little battle here into turn 1. Did seem very active as they came off that right-hander into the Niki Lauda curve. It seems like we might just have enough time to take a look at that. Colin McNair still 0.2 seconds off of the back of Topinka. It's going to be interesting to watch that as well. So Dutton, who is number, to find him now, he's dropped so far. Adam Dutton, number 812. Let's see. Yes, there is an incident for him. Let's see what this was. So right up behind Valentine, familiar names. Behind Martinez as well. Into the right-hander, and he just stops. There's just a loss of power. It does seem as though he's still in full control of the vehicle. So, yeah, that must be some sort of technical issue, some sort of issue with a car, or in the real world, some issue with a wheelbase. Colin McNair though has lost time on Mikołaj Topinka while all that was happening. He's now a second behind him. I was about to say 1.3. But something happened, so he's still within that 1 second gap. Tim Miro right up behind Batek, and these are two pros battling for track position, and so are the cars of Peters and Valentine. Sorry, that's not involved. Here we go though, 3 wide into turn 3. Almost we've got Miro, then we've got Camperdix, and we've got Schwanner. Schwanner around the outside into the right-hander. Keep it clean, boys. A little bit of contact here. Both cars go off. Schwanner into the grass, and he's left stranded. And in the meantime, Camperdix makes the most of the situation and takes that position 2 for the price of 1. Thank you very much. I am not anymore fragile, says Miro. Well, sorry, no, that's not Miro. That's Camperdix. I messed that up. The one opportunity I had. He's German, though, so I don't think he would say it in that accent either. I'm just going off the nationality of the manufacturer, which is Italian. He does have a German car right behind, though, who is driven by a Belgian. So we are very multicultural, we are very diverse when it comes to that as well. And it's now Camperdix and Miro once again at it for P6. Guido Martinez once again right up behind Sakura. He had a chance at taking the race lead, but then we had Cartwright come in and break up that battle very briefly, but now it is once more game on for the local Polizia, trying to catch a blue Aston Martin travelling at about 200 kilometers an hour as they head into the right-hander. He will have another chance up into turn 3. We'll keep an eye on this battle. I just want to see what everyone else is up to, because of course we had a couple battles up at the top. Cartwright making some good progress. Josh Redhead is into the pits about halfway into the race. Is that going to be for new tyres and a fuel reload? Maybe he was running half fuel load. A lot of factors here when it comes to strategy, a lot of freedom as well compared to previous seasons. I think most seasons we've had a mandatory pit stop. Most, if not all seasons, we've had a mandatory pit stop. The only variation really being whether you had to pit for tyres specifically or for fuel specifically. Sometimes it varied. There was one season where it actually varied from race to race, and that was very interesting because you never had exactly the same strategy going into the race, and it made for some very interesting strategy calls as well. The most common one though was a mandatory fuel pit stop, but not a mandatory tyre pit stop. And of course the fuel was set at a fixed time. What is not fixed though is the order, the standings board between Pamperdix and Batek. Their battle once again flaming hot and hard as they go into turn 9 and turn 10. BMW just about managing to hold on to that position. He's got another BMW getting involved though. Miro also wanting a slice of the action, trying not to get burned by it though. They need to be careful that they don't end up pushing each other too hard and end up damaging each other's cars, because of course Camperdix, his car is very much fragile, compared to the BMWs, who do not rely on aero as much as the Ferrari does. I'm actually surprised though at the pace that Campodix has been showing, as well as Cartwright really. They've both been absolutely flying in the Italian machinery, doing really well, even though they might have some damage to the aero, but I think most of the contact really has been side by side. Colin McNair though, 0.1 seconds off of Topinka, and we've got Topanitas now actually being overtaken by Peters. Valentine right up behind them as well, but unfortunately he has lapped traffic. Topanitas and Peters swap position for P2 in the Pro class. Some good stuff here up at the top, some great racing. McNair of course still chasing Topinka, and that gap has opened up to a second once more. A gap that has not opened up at all is Campodix and Batek. Neither driver giving up at all either, neither driver letting up on the effort either. Absolutely full send through the left-handers, and they are still at it. Miro right behind as well, waiting to pick up scraps, waiting for an opportunity. But at the moment, as they head into turn 9 and turn 10 though, that is Miro going really slowly into the pits. Schwanner getting caught up behind him. I thought there was maybe potentially some contact to come between them. Very interesting indeed. So Schwanner makes up a position. Miro pits for either fuel or tyres. I don't know which one it is. And Topanitas demoted down to P3. Colin McNair, 0.4 seconds. They can tell again, my accent just changes up ever so slightly. Emery Osduru though having a battle with Vasiliadis. Here we go, kicking off for P11, and Novell comes out just behind them as well. I'm assuming that was not for a good reason. I'm assuming that was because he had some damage or something. There we go, switch back to the inside though, going for some extreme moves. Osduru wants that inside line very desperately, but unfortunately he's lost speed in the process and still stuck in P11 right behind that Ferrari. Roman Hosko in P18, sorry, almost said 22nd for some reason, in P18 making a move on Ziludis, and the number 67 just keeping to his line. Hosko, he'll have to take the initiative, and he does so still on the inside, and Ziludis very sensibly gives him the space, but he's not quite doing anything with it. Hosko didn't quite move fast enough, I think. Didn't quite get moving. Also, we did have an incident with Schwanner and the gang a bit earlier, didn't we? Late pit entry for Campodix. Late pit entry. I'm wondering whether the stewards might have something to say about that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Campodix into the pits, I'm sure, to repair some of the damage that we've seen him obtain over the course of this evening. Osduru in P11 chasing Vasiliadis. And is it odd, or do we have more Pro-Ams in the top 10 than we have Pros? Yes, we do. Topinka, Peters, Topanitas and Batek, the only Pros in the top 10, while the rest are Pro-Ams. So the Pro-Ams doing some pretty good work. Schwanner in the Audi, staying ahead, 3 seconds ahead of Saint Phenonicad. The Nartis 2.4 seconds behind them. Vasiliadis in that Ferrari 6 seconds behind Lenartaz. And I said Lenartez, and now I'm back to Lenartez. It is a bit interesting. We are just now going into the second half of the race. The first half has been entertaining to say the least. We do have plenty of incidents to look at in the replay as well once we get bored. Waller though not quite getting bored fighting Puller. We've seen this battle a little earlier. Johnson not quite managing to get past this gaggle of Pro-Ams yet, and he's still struggling. I'm assuming there's damage to his car as well. It's a similar thing to the Ferraris. It relies a lot on the aero as they head into the right-hander. He's got that inside line. Easy pickings for the McLaren driver. Now it's whether he can keep it on track consistently and whether he can then continue to make positions, because he is currently P18 with some damage to his car. So pit stop for him maybe on the cards. Kurt Peters into the pits, and it's not a mandatory stop as we were talking about before. So all of this is voluntary stops really. A lot could happen in terms of strategy when it comes to this. Do the drivers know? I'm sure they do know. I'm sure they do know. Apparently we're going to have some shake-ups on the pitting requirements, on the pit stop requirements this season. So it should make, again, for some very interesting viewing, some very interesting stuff. Currently in P1 overall and P1 for the Pro class, we have Mikael Topinka in the Porsche, currently ripping it round. P2 is Mario Tsapanidis with Bartek in P3. Then we've got Colin McNair in P1 for the Pro-Am class, but P2 overall, so some good stuff, a good showing from the driver in the Ironbrew Nissan GTR. We've got Morris Schwander, a German in a German car, in P5, P2 for his class, and Stein van Onneker showing us the Bentley is definitely the GOAT, or shall I say the boat of the season at the moment. In terms of the championship standings last season, this was definitely the boat. It was a great car. It was amazing last season in the hands of Matthew Jordan, I should say. I think we also had, what was it? Again, sorry, names are a bit elusive at the moment. My brain's on weekend mode already, but it shouldn't be because tomorrow I'm supposed to be spannering for a hill climb car. So yeah, hopefully my brain will switch on by then. But for now, Topinka, he's on autopilot in P1. He should still be paying attention though, because he does have McNair within a second behind him, and he's stuck with him all this way. McNair potentially the only challenger to Topinka's dominance. Nico Ziludis and Waller Johnson have just swapped positions down in P15. Waller making some progress up the field once more. That one pro who got wronged right at the start. I still don't know what happened to Waller. He's currently P15, the number 99. Let's see what happened to him right at the start, if we can see that long ago, because we have had an overwhelming amount of incidents, so I can't actually tell you. Which is a bit of a pity, but hey ho. Colin McNair though, 0.2 seconds off of Topinka. It seems to fluctuate slightly as to where he gains time and where he doesn't. At the moment, 0.8 seconds separate them, but into turn 1 it was 0.2 seconds. I'm just assuming Topinka is maybe making these small mistakes. You can see how close McNair is to the back end of that Porsche as they went into turn 3. Let's see what it's like under braking. Is it maybe the GTR just being absolutely amazing under the brakes? The Porsche is also very good on the brakes as well, so it's, to be honest, it's a fairly even fight. So this is the gap between them. We're looking at Topinka from the front splitter of McNair in the number 13. And yeah, they're neck and neck in terms of pace. They're neck and neck. Another driver that is neck and neck with another BMW is Cartwright, once more trying to make some progress up the field. He's done a brilliant job so far. He spun out to turn 1, and now he's just taken a position on Ozduru, the number 343, losing out on P9. So Cartwright, yeah, making some good progress, doing some good stuff all the way down in P9. He's recovered very well from P16 when he dropped, and he's now made his way all the way up to P9 already. Now he just needs to catch Vasiliadis, Lenartas, Stein van Onneker, and then hopefully at some point McNair, but he's only got 24 minutes to do so. It's going to be a very big ask indeed. His best lap time is a 129.8, and George Vasiliadis' best lap time is a 1:30 dead, while the next best lap time is a 129.9 from the drivers ahead. So yes, it's close. It's going to be tough. Cartwright might make it up into P8. He might catch Vasiliadis, that Ferrari at the bottom of your screen that just disappeared. He'll just about manage to make up to the back of him, but from then on I think it'll be a hard one. I think it'll be hard to catch up to the other cars. Colin McNair, yes. Sorry, for some reason it was a bit tricky. Colin McNair currently in P2, still chasing Topinka. I would love to see this man take a race win, not only in his own class. He's already doing that very well. He's already leading the race pretty much right from the start for his class. I would love to see him on that top step, just so I can say The Scotsman has won in Austria. It would be ideal though if we had a Scottish race at some point, and then of course the Iron Brew unsponsored car can take the race win. And can you believe it? Iron Brew refused to sponsor this guy, and he's currently taking on our only two-time GT3 champion. That is outrageous. He's the only driver that's challenging them, and he's a pro-am, for goodness sake. Can you believe it? They wouldn't. Yeah, it's a loss, really. It's their loss. You know, down to the Iron Brew guys. Dylan Matthews loses out to Camper Dix in P20, who of course had to pit a little earlier. Minutes from the end, and it is hitting that point in the race where it is slightly quiet. Kurt Peters making a position on Nicholas Mumtaz now once more, just trying to make some progress up the field. Oh my goodness, and you can see Milot in the background just managing to avoid the BMW ahead of him. I think there was just came in a little bit too hot, and yeah, just had to get out of the way. Do we only have it's been a long day, hence the yawn. I'm not yawning because of the action, and the action's been amazing. Milot in the GTR, bringing up the rear. Dutton, unfortunately, still in the pits, still struggling with some sort of issue in the WMD ACC car. And we've got a yellow flag for Brum, actually, on the start-finish line, and fortunately manages to keep it over on the left-hand side of the circuit. Let's see what happened to the number 8. He's already gone back to the pits. So I'm assuming it was a fairly nasty incident. So into turn 9, then into turn 10. Is it on the curb? Yeah, correction, and then smashes nose first into that left-hand side barrier, and some good avoidance by the Audi behind. I'm not sure who that Audi was, but it was good heads-up driving from him as well, being able to look ahead, which is what everyone should do, and it's something that not enough people do, unfortunately. But you know, it was good, great to see a driver avoid that incident. Unlike a certain someone in season 6, a Bentley, who drove straight into the backside of a stationary Aston Martin, and yeah, the thing is, right, this was at Kyalami. Final corner is ahead of us. We've just come through the kink, the cheetah as they call it, that fast right-hander, and a stationary Aston Martin is located halfway between the two. So you come out the cheetah, and it's over on the right-hand side, so yeah, it's slightly on the racing line, but you know, all you got to do is just come over a little bit to the left, and you'd be fine, right? All you had to do was look. For some reason, the Bentley driver did not see the Aston Martin, and so ploughed straight into the back of them, and there was a huge collision. And yeah, to say the least, it was gruesome, and the Bentley did suffer some very bad consequences, and so did the Aston Martin, because of course it just got smashed into at about 200 kilometers an hour. But otherwise the drivers were unhurt. Fortunately, I think their force feedback isn't on something ridiculous like 40 Newton meters, and as a result snapped their wrists off or anything. They were still fine. The Nartas now in P7, sorry, to bring us back to the racing, currently in P4, chasing Stijn van Honecker in the Bentley, ironically, and Aston Martin and a Bentley are going head to head. The number 666 ahead with the number 16 behind, and they are battling for the final podium position. Stijn van Honecker currently his best lap a 1:30.1, the Nartas best lap a 1:30 dead. About 400s separating these two, but their last lap were 0.3 different, and hence the catch-up, you could call it, or hence the, again, that thing of closing the distance. It was an increase in delta on the car ahead? Was it a decrease on the delta of the car ahead? Was it an up? Was it a down? Basically, he's closer to the car ahead. We'll leave it at that. He's closer to that car ahead. Heading into turn 1, any opportunities? Doesn't look like it. Still stuck behind. TSH Racing looking to make an opportunistic move into turn 3, maybe a massive dive bomb. Well, it's not quite there yet. 17 minutes to go though. It's not too far off. Still keeping it nice and tidy through there. Let's see what it looks like from the helmet cam. This is what it looks like inside the helmet. And see, it's still a decent gap to Stain. Still got a little bit of time and a little bit of distance to make up on the Bentley. But look at how early that Bentley turns in compared to Lenartas. I'm not wondering whether there's maybe a bit of a difference in time there. P23 also having a brilliant battle here for P23, which I just said. The car going around the outside of Rucroft, interclass battling. Unfortunately, not quite up there. Nico Zilodis off into the grass at turn 1, basically. Something happened there. Anything of note? I mean, we've got the replay, so we can have a look. Let's just keep an eye on Lenartas, though, because he's 0.3 seconds off the Bentley ahead as they head through the right-hander once more, right up behind him, looking for a gap, looking for an opportunity, staying in that slipstream for now. It might be that he gets a good run through turn 1 and into turn 3, get a good lunge up the inside. And I swear I am not tired, but I am yawning, and yeah, I don't know, because I had a double choc mocha coffee this morning. Oh, here we go though, down the inside, just as adrenaline filled and caffeine filled. Lenartas takes a lovely move up the inside, and the Bentley does not find that in the slightest. And just like me being tired, yeah, just yawns, and he's like, oh well, you can have it. Although into turn 4 though, it's gotten a little bit of speed to him. I think the Lenartas, yeah, this is pretty much the order they should be. The Lenartas ahead of Bentley, just in terms of pace and consistency. So yeah, the karate car doing very well indeed. TSH Racing must be proud. Nico Zilodis lost another position on Miro behind, who of course took a pit stop earlier. We didn't get around to seeing what the incident was for Zilodis, number 19. Let's see, is there an incident? If there is, there have been about 50 instances between that and right now, because I cannot for the life of me find it, and I'm not about to go 2.5 minutes into the replay and watch a replay for 2.5 minutes. I mean, I could try, but it's, yeah, it's a bit of a, it would be a bit long. And actually, we didn't get around to talking about who's leading in the AM class earlier. Aracon Sakura still somehow ahead of Martinez. Earlier we saw Martinez right up behind Sakura. He was battling, he was having a battle with Cartwright as well. Cartwright getting involved, breaking that up, and now he's just gone. Now he's 6 seconds off of Sakura, and yeah, there's no one really close enough to battle him. No one close enough ahead of him to start looking at battling. It's, yeah, I think something's happened to this BMW. You can still see the Aston Martin ahead, so he's still got that drive. Almost said that in an American accent. Oh my goodness, we're going proper worldwide. He got that drive. Definitely not my proudest or best American accent. But we could have some racing on here. Recroft, unfortunately, the subject of many overtakes, the unfortunate victim of many drivers, and we've got the Cook coming up right up behind him. DSRT making an overtake on the Recroft vehicle into turn 1. Could we see a move? Yeah, well, there's a move towards the inside. Whether he holds on to it is a different question. He has to back out of it. Wow. So I guess that angle, or kind of the distance over to the inside, was a little bit too much for him. Monta's just losing out to Pampadix in the Ferrari. And let's see how long it takes the timing tower to update this. There we go. It was just ahead of the Sector 2 board. So fair enough. And anything else? No, it's fairly quiet on circuit at the moment. We've hit that point where everyone's gotten into that rhythm, even though we are only 12 minutes remaining in the race. So we've had a very action-filled race, to be fair. We've had some 4-way battles, we've had some 5-way battles in the top 5. It's brilliant. We even had McNair right up behind Topinka at some point, but he's now 2 seconds off of him. The Ian Brew again. See, I told you, I just can't contain myself. It's always with a Scottish accent. Even just saying Scottish, that sounded slightly different. I'm overthinking it now. I just love it. I just love it. I would say I'm an Iron Brew addict, you could say, but I don't know. I don't think I drink enough of it really to classify as a full-on Iron Brew aholic, if you will. I almost said Iron Brew alcoholic, but I mean it doesn't have any alcohol as far as I know. I mean, it's been brewed, so I can see why some people might think so, but I don't know. Who else loves Iron Brew? I love a good old Iron Brew, as I'm sure you all know. By now, I'm sure you all have picked up on that. Now, it is of course very quiet, but Nathan Cartwright has managed to make up the gap to Vasiliadis, as we were talking about a little bit earlier. Camperdick's just made up on Pilar as well, with the Cock right up behind Rucroft still. But we follow the 2 Ferraris, Cartwright and Vasiliadis, the number 627 and the 29, going head-to-head sometime soon. We were talking about this earlier, about their fastest laps, about their consistency. Well, I mean, Vasiliadis has been absolutely amazing in the season or 2 that we've seen him race. But right now, he's struggling slightly when it comes to the pace. He was on top in the Pro-Am class, but the new drivers have all turned it up, right up to 11. We've got McNair, obviously, in P2 at the moment, but I foresee him being a pro driver. And then, of course, we've got Schwanner, Lenartas, both new there as well. Stein von Honecker, Vasiliadis, some older names, and Cartwright showing us, yep, he wants to be added to that new list of rookies to then take a few podium positions. And at the moment, he is P9, but in his class, he's P6, so just outside that top 5. And if he makes the move on Vasiliadis, that'll be top 5 position for him. Willa Johnson right up behind Roman Hosko for P14 as well. That's something we can keep an eye on. That has happened quite a few times. Rucroft, for some reason, the cause of a yellow flag or a white flag, for some reason, I don't know. Not quite an incredible crash or anything out of the ordinary happening there. I think it was last time round, or I think it was Alton Park, where we had some incidents or yellow flags show up. Oh no, it was Snetterton. I think it was Snetterton actually, where we got to that point in the race where it was so boring that we were watching replays of drivers coming out the pits. That was involuntary, by the way, because on my screen on ACC TV, they just show you, oh, yellow flag or accident, and you know, we wanted to see what all the yellow flags were about, and so we watched about 5 or 6 replays of guys literally just exiting the pits, and there was nothing wrong with it. It was purely just because it's a slow car moving in the pit lane, and for some reason the game picks it up. So yeah, we saw some very dangerous manoeuvres at Snetterton. They were travelling way too fast down that pit lane. 50 kilometers an hour. Nah, just doesn't cut it. Irresponsible. Unbelievable. Anyways, Cartwright has unfortunately lost a little bit of time on Vasiliadis. He's now 1.3 seconds behind him, so yeah, just a bad lap, I reckon, for the Ferrari. He's 3/10. It was 3/10 slower than Vasiliadis' head. 3/10. Very odd. Yeah. I actually showed my parents a meme the other day of someone in the South African Parliament trying to pronounce the word conscientiously, and yeah, it was a good laugh. So I don't know. That just brought that up to mind for me. Conscientiously. So you know, obviously you got to correct conscientious. Now it's got me. It's all tongue-tied. Some of these names, though, are fun to say. I have to admit, it's always great at the start of the season to see all the new names and try to pronounce it. McNair, Schwan, that's also quite a nice one. This is stuff we commentators talk about a lot when we're kind of co-hosting or anything. Which drivers have got fun names, or which ones do we have to know about to say in the right way, or it sounds like something else. Martinez is another one that sounds very Spanish. Martinez in the BMW with the local Policia, Spanish driver. Yeah, it's difficult again not to say it with a Spanish accent. Although I have to admit, my Spanish accent isn't as good as the rest of them. Even though I am learning Portuguese, which is kind of the same sounding almost. But yeah, it's just not quite the same. Kurt Peters and Roman Hosko, the closest gap on circuit at the moment. Some interclass racing. Nick Novell and Leakin Stevens? Yeah, Leakin Steven. I don't know, there was just something about that name which was kind of creeping me out. It just seemed wrong saying it that way. It just felt weird saying it. But anyway, Novell and Steven separated by a decent distance. Within a second. But nothing really remarkable. Kurt Peters on the inside of Hosko into the right-hander. Hosko seems to be fighting this one fairly hard, which is going to be bad for Peters because he's got Johnson behind him, behind the Ferrari of Matthews as well. That's another factor to take into account. And actually, Tim Miro is alongside Puller now. Two BMWs heading into the right-hander, heading into that hairpin, and they are still right up behind each other, bumper to bumper, as they make their way up the hill and now through into turn 4. I don't see any moves coming in here. It's a little desperate from Miro, but then again, 5 minutes left in the race. He has decided to go for that inside line. Puller giving him just enough space onto the gravel, and there we go, a move done for the number 268. Some great racing here, a good overtake from Miro ahead. Nathan Cartwright back up behind Vasiliadis as they head into turn 3. Not quite close enough for an opportunity yet, but again, this is something that will be happening at some point in the near future. So just trying to get some sources from my research right. It was a bit weird. Some of my links have gone all haywire. Cartwright right up behind Vasiliadis now. She's not like me. So it must be. It's a long week. I have to say I have been a lot more active than I usually am. Cartwright also very active tonight, going from P16 up to P9. This is your first time joining us tonight. He's been doing absolutely brilliantly to catch up to the back of this Ferrari, and that will probably be the final overtake for him before he meets his match in Stein for Monaco, the Nartas and Schwandner. Again, some new names and an old name. McNair, though, another new name with some new things going on at HSR Motorsport. Currently P2 and still trailing to Pinker, just about managing to keep up, and is, well, I say just about. He's the only man who's managed to keep up with Topinka as well as he has in about 4 seasons of racing, or shall I say 2 seasons for Topinka. Here we go though, this battle coming to a head for Vasiliadis and Cartwright going side by side. Cartwright choosing the outside, enough space given to him to run out wide and not abuse track limits, but still side by side here. Vasiliadis on that inside line into turn 4. It's going to be a tight battle here into the right-hander, maybe slightly ahead into the right-hander. Vasiliadis still doing his best. A little bit of contact between these two. Again, we need to remember they are fragile. They are fragile. Francesco, yes, they are. And Cartwright has got that inside line for the next corner. And oh my goodness, there we go. Contact. And both of them have spun out. And now they can share a lovely, well, I wouldn't say candlelit dinner because it's not quite late enough for that. A lovely picnic out on the gravel. And Cartwright feels the need to then just shoot off because, you know, on his side, he had the inside line. The other Ferrari turned on into him. Let's see what happened there. We can have a look at the incident ourselves. in just a few moments. Vassiliadis still recovering in P10, and he's dropped a fair distance down. I'm sure the stewards will be having a look at that and make the appropriate decision. All we can do is speculate. So let us speculate then. This is number 29. Yeah, we had an incident. Let's see. Oh no, this is coming back on track. No, it was just a yellow flag. Nothing serious here. Nothing to worry about. Still all good. Oh no, he spins again. Just overheating tyres, so there's more damage to his car. I think he might pull into the pit soon. No, he's still out there. I mean, fair enough. 2 minutes left in the race. This is the incident from earlier. It's into the right-hander. A little bit of contact there. Let's see this from a different angle up here. Contact there almost. And then into the right-hander. Turns in. And there's a Ferrari there. I am really unsure about that, and that is not my job, so I will not try and make a ruling on that. It did seem as though the Ferrari on the inside, he had the line, he had the space, he was just doing his thing, keeping it fairly predictable, and yeah, Vassiliadis kind of turned in on him, but you know, we can only see so much. Carl Banning coming up on Rucroft behind, battling for P5 almost within his reach. It is, yeah, I think it is P5, 0.8 seconds between them, so there is still potential there for a battle. And Johnson, we've seen a Johnson-Hosker battle whole evening long, and every time Johnson manages to get ahead and then just loses it. Unfortunately, that just seems to be the theme of tonight. They do have a Mercedes, a back marker just ahead of them that will need to pull over to the side to allow them through. And actually, oh my goodness, contact between these two. Just as we leave them, Banning and Rucroft come together and are now stranded on turn 1. Where is Mikhail Topinka though? Because I need to know whether we're going to have another lap of racing. Yes, we are. So we can have a quick look at what happened to Banning and Rucroft, number 27 and number 987. They're still at it though, into the hairpin right-hander. We'll have a look at the replay in just a second. BMW going for the outside. The Aston Martin feeling the need to defend into the right-hander. I wonder whether there has been any love lost between these two, whether they will just keep battling on and on with no prejudice whatsoever and no list of faults. Well, the BMW, based purely on acceleration, has managed to get past up the hill and through the right-hander. He's used the BMW's straight line speed and has now taken P5 away from Rucroft. Although actually yes, it is still P5 somehow. Stephen right there behind them though. Okay, let's have a quick look at this incident, and then that will be probably the end of the race soon. Number 27. Here we go. So out of the final corner, BMW's got a slight run, or he's just got the slipstream, or both contributing factors. Is it a move down the inside? Oh, not quite, and under braking. They're still fine through the right-hander. Oh my goodness, and the Aston Martin just a little slow through there. And the BMW doesn't quite anticipate that and doesn't compensate for that lack of speed. And as a result, ends up in the rear end of that Aston Martin. Unfortunate result then for those two. I mean, they're still in the same positions. They're still there. So nothing really lost for them. But one man who has not lost any pace at all, it seems, over the past year is Mikhail Topinka, our two-time HSR Motorsport GT3 champion, coming across the line once more. Round 1, Season 7. He is back to take his third championship. He is once again across the line for the first time. Topinka wins round 1 of the Season 7 championship, and right behind him, Colin McNair takes P1 for the class, P2 overall. Probably the strongest challenger for the championship. Overall, I can see McNair being a challenger to Topinka for the rest of the season. A rival. This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough for McNair to keep up with Topinka. And then, of course, we have got Sakura in the Aston Martin, just keeping it nice and consistent. He's had Martinez come up behind him a couple of times. Fortunately, Cartwright intervened for the both of them, and Sakura has come out on top. The number 40 will be crossing the line first for the AMS, as long as he can keep it clean through the final corner, and he does so. The silver, blue and gold car crosses the line completes his final lap here at Austria and takes the round one victory here at the Red Bull Ring. Wow, what a race. That was amazing. That was incredible. So, the end of the first round of the HSR Motorsport GT3 Season 7 Championship, and we had a couple great battles. We had an amazing four-way battle between the drivers up in the top 5. We had some good stuff for the Pro-Ams. We had some good stuff between Martinez and Sakura almost, and then of course we had right at the end Rucroft and was it Beeling? Sorry, new name, so it's a bit of a tricky one. But yeah, some great racing anyhow, and a potential challenger for the Pro Class Championship lead. So join us next week at Spa to find out whether McNair can actually beat Topinka. It'll be great to see whether he can, and see whether Topinka will finally be beaten on even ground. He's been beaten only a few times, in fact so few that you can count them on one hand. Will McNair be that one driver to make it 2 hands? Join us next week, 8 PM GMT, that's when quali starts. Practice starts a little bit earlier, but we don't start streaming then. But anyways, join us next week. Sorry, it's not next week actually, no, it's a different system now. We've got an LMU championship starting up next week as opposed to just the ACC, so join us in 2 weeks, 8 PM BST. It's not GMT as well. Plenty of sub notes on this one, plenty of PSs. So 8 PM BST in 2 weeks for round 2 with Spa. Hopefully we'll see you all there. Good night.